Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to another advanced listening practice lesson. It is a pleasure to welcome you back, and let's get into the lesson. Today I wanted to talk about something, I always want to talk about kind of fluency in general and just more being confident, and I want you to think about whether you have a hotel job. Maybe most of you do not. I had a job as a front desk manager at a hotel for about a year when I was living back in Seattle. I also had a job as a manager and a server at a sushi restaurant in Seattle. So that was an interesting experience, lots of fun, getting to use a little bit of my Japanese. But all of these experiences, the thing that I want to highlight for you, because you will encounter these same experiences, whether you work at a specific hotel or a sushi restaurant or whatever, we all interact with people throughout our day. And if you think about yourself as a person that's constantly developing kind of the way you are or the way you speak with people, with each new interaction that you have, then you're going to be able to shape yourself into the kind of person you want to be. Now, that could be just being more confident in general or becoming a more fluent speaker, anything else. But you can decide what that is and then mold that image for yourself, mold those skills that are required to do that over time with each individual person that you work with. Excuse me. So beginning with something like working at a hotel or a sushi restaurant, I remember when I was a server, so I would spend some of my time managing and some of my time as a server just talking with people. I really enjoyed it a lot because with each person, I would get to maybe practice a little bit more Japanese, or we would get to change maybe the sales message of a particular thing we were selling. But the kind of thing that I started when I was thinking about these kinds of jobs, especially the server one, because I had never had like a formal job working as a restaurant server in America before. It was my first time doing it. When I was first doing it, I was really, really nervous because I wanted to communicate with people, but I kept thinking, okay, what if I drop the food, or what if I mess up the order? And I've done like both of those things. Actually, I don't think I dropped anything, but I did mess up an order one time. That's like one kind of story really quickly. When you work as a server and you've got a table that has maybe 12 or 15 people and each of them wanted to pay with their own check, and I was stupidly saying, yes, you can do that, instead of putting them all together under one thing. So if you go to a restaurant and you say like, this will be separate checks, or can we get separate checks when you go into a restaurant and you're speaking with like your server when you first arrive. So if you've got yourself and 3 friends at a restaurant, hey, can we get separate checks? So you're asking that at the beginning, and the server will be able to take each of your orders specifically. So when you finish, you can pay, and you can pay each of those things individually. Excuse me again, talking too much today. Anyway. So I was there, and I remember like forgetting a lot of people's orders and other things. It got really confusing. So at the end of the meal, I said, hey, is there anything else I can bring you or forget to bring you? And I'm trying to bring a little bit of like humor to it. And they thought that was like, I'm like admitting that I did something stupid, but kind of in a funny way. So they were happy about that. And I think we gave them some free food or something because it was a bit more troublesome than we had kind of like wanted them to have for their experience. Anyway. So in those situations, I was nervous because I thought about all the things that I might make a mistake about, or all of the situations where something could go wrong. And that's how we think as people. We worry about what's going to happen. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized like 2 important things. The first one is that I should be picking a specific thing to focus on for that particular day. Or I should be thinking on like, maybe for this table, I should be focusing on how I'm selling something. Or for this table, I'm thinking about my smile. Or for this table, I'm thinking about something else. So I'm only focusing on one particular thing for each of those things. And the second thing, again, excuse me, I'm talking too much, but the second thing to remember is that when you're in a situation like that, you will encounter this person one time, probably, and you will never see them again. So it's just another opportunity to practice and develop yourself and your skills as a person. So I'd be practicing my smile, like I would make like a different smile one day and then try a different smile and see how the reaction was. Or I would try to sell things in one way using one particular way of speaking, and then the next day or a different customer, I would use something else to see what developed as a better way of doing something. But it's a process that evolves over time in the same way that your fluency develops over time. So when I'm speaking Japanese with people, I might think, okay, I'm going to say something. And maybe years ago when I was really nervous about speaking Japanese in front of other people because I didn't want to make a mistake and my pronunciation was not very good, all of those typical reasons that most people have. When I was thinking about that, I was too worried about this is the only time I'm going to speak, instead of thinking this is just another time that I get to practice. So how you think about the way you practice really has a big difference on your confidence and whether you are willing to take action and take steps in that moment. So when I was, instead of thinking, okay, I'm going to be really nervous about this, I just decided, okay, if I make a mistake in all these other things, I don't really care, because right now I'm just thinking about just focusing on this, practicing this different way of selling something, or different way of explaining something, or different way of welcoming someone to the restaurant. So those kinds of things, instead of thinking this is the last opportunity, it's just the next opportunity. And when you think about the next opportunity to do something, there are really an infinite number of them. You could go outside, the same thing when I was working at the hotel. So we would get new people coming in every day, new customers, and we would experiment. How do we say this? How do we do that? How do we apply this thing in that situation? And it's just, again, it's another situation, the next opportunity to do something. And when you think about things as an evolving process, as opposed to this is the only time, wow, this conversation is really important. Maybe this conversation is important, but it's just really another conversation. So think about that as you're trying to get fluent. It will help you relax much more in conversations, and it will also help you get fluent faster because you're picking a specific thing. So just pick one thing to work on. Right now, today, when I'm going out and meeting people in my everyday conversations, there is a new phrase that I've learned in Japanese, and I want to go and practice that with as many people as possible. So I try to fit that phrase into the conversation as best I can, or look for ways to just use that conversation when I'm only speaking with myself. So these are the things you can do that will help you become a much more confident, fluent English speaker. And again, think about it's just the next opportunity. It's just another chance to practice. It's not the last time you're going to get to speak. And even if it were the last time, it's not the end of the world. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Try to keep this idea in your mind about the next opportunity. And just remember to relax, because there's always going to be another chance to improve. And you may make a mistake, but again, it's just a chance to improve. Have a fantastic day. Do click that like button if you have enjoyed this video. Become a subscriber to the YouTube channel if you have not already. And I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.